meeting of the Library Board of Trustees was sent by email to our official newspapers, the Asbury Park Press and the Coast Star. Please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Pat, would you do roll call, please?
Sure.
Judy Alvarez.
Jerry Buckaloo.
Here.
Bruce Blattner.
Here.
Casey?
I haven't heard from her. I don't remember getting a response.
Oh, she will not be here.
Okay.
Okay. Darlene?
Present.
Me? I'm here. Maria? Present, but I'm in a no voting role today. Mr. Porter? Dare vote. John?
Here.
Mike?
Present.
Sharon? Present. Danielle?
Danielle is going to be here but late.
Okay.
She mentioned to me at school today, she's coming tonight. She'll be here.
Running the kids around.
All right. Do I have an approval of the May meeting?
Motion for approval of the May meeting notes.
Bruce, any second? I'll
Second.
Arlene? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimously approved. All right, library update.
Okay. So obviously we have good and bad news with the windows. Back, I think I jinxed this when the back windows were going in great. I said to everybody, oh, this is going so smoothly. But everything was done with the back windows. They fit. And then when we started with the large windows, we had a problem with the measurement of the corners, as you've seen, where the wood is there.
We didn't have a problem, they had a problem.
Yeah, okay, thank you. They had a problem, and Mike was here to support me, so Mike, thank you very much, his knowledge. You know, it's a little bit of an argument between the construction company and the window company, to put it lightly. But we worked it out that the windows are being remade. We have 8, so we have 4, right? Windows times 2, you have 8. We have 8 corner windows, so we have about, you know, more than 50% of the windows complete. We had a number of times that I had to call our engineer with questions based on what Mike was concerned about with the windows. And we check on things. You also, you could see space in where the wood was. So there was a couple times we called them to make sure they came and made sure it was sealed so we wouldn't have any water damage. But I'm guessing, based on my conversation with all 3 parties, that it would be at least 2 months until those windows are complete or made. So that's the situation with the windows. Mike, is there anything you'd like to add?
No.
Okay. And second was, if you remember, we had a gentleman here last time about the concerts. So in talking with you, and I thought the best thing was to kind of go to him during the concert. I went to his home during the concert with a decibel reader on my app. I tested it out, you know, throughout a week. Like when I'm talking, what does it sound like? Is it accurate when a car goes by? I researched it on Google, you know, and it seemed to be pretty accurate. I went into his home, and to be quite honest with you, I thought it was going to be worse because it's an older home. The windows were new. I didn't think it was that bad. When I was in there, it was anywhere from 50 to 70 was the decibel reading in the house. However, he still feels that it is against the ordinance and the state law. I had spoken to Jerry, I had spoken to the town attorney, I had spoken to Tina. So just to give you an idea of the conversations I've had, and then Jerry, if you can help me out. First of all, our attorney felt as though there is no exception for government supported events in our ordinance, but there is in the state law. And he had felt that we use that if we wanted to have more concerts because it's government approved. We'd have to talk about with Jerry in terms of whether it would be approved by the Borough Council or if it's just automatically approved because of our board. The attorney also said that there could be a change to the ordinance if everyone agreed that it's in the best interest of the town. There could also be just a resolution by our board and by the town board that it is supported by both boards, and then the exception to in the law could be used. In talking to Tina felt as though she understood why, she didn't know we had 7 concerts planned for this summer. We have gone up in terms of our number. She felt that maybe in a residential area that was a little much, maybe we should have a compromise. So that's something that I spoke to the gentleman about for this summer. But my concern is, it was my impression that it would be something that we could do each summer with a smaller number of concerts. And his impression of my conversation with him is that, no, just this summer. So, is there any questions based on what I just said, based on my conversations with 4 different people that I can explain to you before maybe Jerry talks about our conversation? Is there anything?
Who's Tina?
Tina is our chief of police.
Chief Scott.
Oh, okay.
So Dave, there are exemptions recognized under state law. The borough ordinance does not speak to that exception, nor does it preclude the use of that exception. Is that the general conversation you had? So we don't say you can or you can't, therefore it's silent, and our position would be we're just reverting to the explicit nature of the state law.
Yeah, when I spoke with George McGill, and I think we're going to move towards amending the ordinance and putting the exceptions that are in the state law in the ordinance. Okay? Because you're always going to have that interpretation issue, whereas some people interpret it that it does apply and others will say, well, no, it doesn't apply.
Yeah.
So I think to clear it up, I think we will be shortly discussing at the council amending the ordinance to just put in the exceptions that are in the state statute, and then that'll take care of it. Because it's not just this; it's other celebrations too. I mean, we have a seafood festival. We have other festivals and things. So we need to have that clear that there's an exception for public celebrations and events.
Yeah, I was wondering if it was what the exception actually said, because we've had barking dog problems around our areas. So.
There's about, I don't remember the number, there are multiple exceptions in the state statute, but the one that pertains to us is the one for public celebrations and events. So, I don't know when George is going to have that ready. I don't think he'll have it tomorrow night, but I'm anticipating it's going to be sooner rather than later. Just, maybe the 25th meeting.
And you have to two readings though, right?
Yeah, it's an ordinance change.
So my thought on that would be, we already had 2. We had Pat Roddy, we had the kids on Saturday, the Beach Music Studio. I was not there Saturday, Louis was, it went well, correct?
It went very well.
Yeah, and we have Pat Roddy at the end of the summer, we have the contract with. I spoke to the gentleman about that. He was reasonable about not calling the police based, at that time. And so really it comes down to what does the board want to do with the 4 other bands that we had scheduled, and I called them and said, heads up, okay, we're not going to do a purchase order until I get directive from the board and speak to the mayor and speak to the attorney and to the chief of police. So, Jerry, what's your...
My thought is the interpretation of our attorney and myself is that the state exception applies. So we should just move forward as scheduled. And, and that would be the answer that we would have. So, we feel the state exception applies because apparently, when the town ordinance was written, as you said, it wasn't addressed. So we don't know the intent of the council back then. Was it to not have the exceptions, or was it just an oversight? Was it we don't need to put that in because the state statute applies? So, you know, I think based on our interpretation, we should just move forward with it. And by the time the summer is over, you'll probably have amended ordinance to you know, make it absolutely clear. Okay. That's what, you know,
So-
our intent.
So do we want some type of compromise on the number, or we're just gonna,
No.
do you want?
No.
No.
I don't want any input other than our legal counsel's
Got
input.
it. So
And the people at this table.
So you want me to call those bands back and say, we want to have those, and if it might have to be a different date, because it, you know, I told them, hold up, you know, right now we can't go.
Well,
But we have
reschedule.
four more, okay, and it's usually on a Thursday night, and I'll try to book them.
What was the next scheduled date?
I believe it was
gonna be in July, black ties.
Yeah, and it's like beginning of July,
Oh,
so,
middle of July.
is it like the 11th or
Yeah,
something?
something like that.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, we could possibly at that point be in the middle of
yeah,
having a,
Right.
you know,
Okay.
second reading.
Yeah.
I don't remember when the
yeah,
exact
got it.
council meeting is.
That's also my fault.
You know, so,
That's the worst part.
you know, it might be a moot point.
Yeah,
What I'm saying
okay.
at that
So
level.
reschedule all bands.
Absolutely.
Reschedule all bands,
Absolutely.
okay.
Yep, okay, great, great. You know what, why don't we do a resolution after public comment? So since we don't have it on the agenda, I think our best bet is after we do discussion and whatnot, have a public comment and then do a resolution, so then we can hear from the, you know, is everyone okay with that? Okay. All right, ready, Deb?
Yeah,
Strategic
I'll be
planning?
brief, I know you have a
Okay.
lot to do today.
Okay.
I just want to update everyone, I've just done a couple of things. Last time we met, we hadn't had our strategic plan meeting yet. We met last Thursday, and I think we were able to attest it was a very productive meeting, we did a lot. We've gotten through sort of prioritizing what we want to see happen, and now we're just going to get into the nitty-gritty of what goes where. We're meeting again next Thursday, and I think we're going to stick to that maybe every other week until we get this done. But it was a great meeting. We divided up future, which is a lot of fun. And what was good about it was a lot of, because it's new to me, so I'm learning as I go through. So what I learned last week is that a lot of the things that we were planning on implementing, and I didn't know, do they go in the strategic plan or do they not? Because we're doing it, and clearly they do. So we've already made progress on the things that we can do immediately. And as I said at our meeting, that really revolves around the reaching out to the Hispanic community. And we've done a lot in terms of increasing the collection, creating the bilingual story time, which is going to be at 10 in the morning, starting on the 21st. We have also, I just took a picture of this just to show if anybody wants to look at it. We started a little library in the laundromat, which was one of our community members' ideas, and so we got that done already.
Is that the busy bee? What used
Yes,
to be the busy bee?
yes, that's the busy bee. So we've got that there, and we've got, you know, that it's from the library. And it's, I go in and I take a look every now and then, drop off more books, so that's good. So we've increased the collection, we have the story time, we're getting the books out to the community. And that's really the gist of what we're doing on that level. The rest of it is all, you know, Maria brought up something that we wanted to address as well when we talked about the mental health facilities and getting some kind of assistance from outside. And you were going to send us for the next meeting a list of resources that we can use. So we're slowly but surely, but we're getting there. So, and I think it's going well. And I'll have more, I think, to report next time, because in our next meeting, we will have everything prioritized into 5 areas that we want to talk about in terms of the future of the library. So that, okay. What else? I think that's it for me. I just wanted to throw that out to you so you would know. I know there's a committee today, so I don't want to take a lot of time. But if you have any questions,
And just real quick, just so you know, anything that is new will not be put into the strategic plan that we haven't discussed to the board. So the strategic plan needs to be presented to you. You're to approve it, but the things we've already started
Right.
and we've talked about, like what you just said,
Right.
we're putting it in, just so you know. And that was the recommendation of the last thing, so, great. Those programs?
Okay, since our last meeting, we had several programs that came up pretty well. We had an oftentimes scheduled with Gregory Andrews, but unfortunately, he hurt his back prior to the event, so he had to cancel out. So once he's back in the game, we'll reschedule to have him back. Hoping to have him back for July or August.
Was the Sunflowers one?
No. He was the Portraits of the Jersey Shore.
Okay.
One right there. We had him once before, a couple of years, when we did a book launch event for his Sand Sea Shore Lifeguards of the Jersey Shore, which was a huge success. So as mentioned before, the summer kickoff concert with the Pat Riley Band went off very well. The weather cooperated with us, and we allowed a lot of great performance. Attendance is estimated to be as high as 350. Okay, that includes all the porches across the street right there as well. All pizza except for 2 slices were consumed. So 42 pies.
Wow, that's great.
Nice, that's a sweet spot right there. So, right after that, the Beach Music Studios Kids Rock Band concert on June 8th went well. The weather was also gorgeous in there. Attendance was approximately 50, mostly parents, but hey, what the heck. You know, some people were there, and the kids did another great job. You know, quite honestly, they did. You know, they performed great American rock music, performed by great American kids in Belmar, and they did a fantastic job. So we, as you remember, we held a watch drive for the homeless last month. That ended on May 26th, I believe it was. As Sharon and I looked over the stuff, here I have some pictures to share real quick. Just passing around real quick. This is like the lot of watches that was collected. So a total of about 180 plus about another bag full of high-end, high-name brand watches, which Sharon and I recommended to Zach that he dispose of more profitably than just merely giving them away. A homeless person walking around with a Tag Heuer watch probably would not be a good idea. So probably get robbed. But the people we found to be very generous, even with the brand watches, which was really, really cool. So when Zach has his drive where he actually gives these out, he's going to call me and have me go be with him on that. So I'll be able to photograph and video that.
Wonder.
And his brother is going to put the batteries in for those.
Yes, his brother's a jeweler or is familiar
Yeah.
with that, so he's going to worry about all the batteries, and he's going to help evaluate which ones will get sold off and which ones will be given away. So, so upcoming programs, we are going to be Busy Little Bees. For June, we have 2 author-tons. The first one is Christopher Bogart in a return engagement. Last year we had him for a book called This Conversation, which was a conversation about race relations. This time he's written a book of poetry on the war in Ukraine called Sunflowers. And Sunflowers is the national flower of Ukraine. And the poetry is about the victims and the heroes of the war. What are they going? What they go through? What their experiences are? And it's a great book that for us Americans who have no real direct idea of what combat is or conflict in it's a great way to get an idea of what these people are going through, what they're experiencing, and it's beautifully illustrated, so we're looking forward to a great presentation. That's going to be on Saturday, June 5th at 11 a.m. here. Later on the last weekend of the year, we have, what?
I'm sorry, was it June 5th?
June 15th. June 15th.
You
All
said
right.
5th.
I apologize.
No, that's right. I was like, did we miss it?
We have a local Belmar author coming on the 29th, Dr. Lucille Madalena. She's also a member of the Historical Society. She wrote a book called Moving On By. I have a copy on my desk over there. But anyway, it's a book, she's an executive coach, and this is a book that she wrote on training these executives on how to develop the team underneath them, to make them more successful, to make them more productive so that they themselves can raise up to the next level as well. And part of the lessons that she's going to be talking about is derived from her experience running dog sleds. She had a dog sled team that she would go up north, and the lessons that she learned and how the teamwork and the leadership with even with running dogs and stuff can help people read the book on how to improve your teams and move on by and achieve your goals and success. She's going to be on June 29th here at 11 a.m. as well. Both of those have been promoted online. We've had introductory videos for them that have been launched. There was an article in Tap Into that came out, I believe, earlier today that describes all the events, and I believe the Coast Guard will have an article on them this Thursday as well. And of course, there are some on our website and Facebook pages. The next big event is Juneteenth, Tuesday, June 18th, 7 p.m. at Taylor Pavilion. All are welcome, or please come and attend. We're going to have, we have the John Luckenbill Orchestra performing that night. We have a guest speaker, Professor Ronald A. Tyson. He's the chair of the English department at Raritan Valley Community College. He'll be speaking about dispelling some of the myths around that are around the story of Juneteenth. The theme of the event is the story of Juneteenth, so that'll be part of my opening monologue explaining this, where I tell the story of Juneteenth. And he'll talk about the myths, and he'll also talk about how the notion that African American history is not a discrete, separate part of American history. It's interwoven in the fabric of American history, and how that is a new concept that people are coming into society with. And we have 100 mini red velvet cupcakes on order from Shopper. So these are the mini ones, so now we don't have to hustle trying to pull one off cupcakes. The mini ones will go much easier. And finally, if all of you will turn to this drawing over here, here you go. This is a drawing made by our very own Bruce Fahey, and this is a all-in-one image of the story of Juneteenth, starting with Abraham Lincoln on the left, announcing the Emancipation Proclamation, and on the right you see the silhouette of General Gordon Granger of the U.S. Army in Texas, arriving to deliver to the last slaves that were formally announced to be free.
This is 2 years later.
2 years later, yeah. So the story is an interesting thing. And anyway, and you can see the Emancipation Proclamation held by hands in front of there. And so it's a great story. It's a great event. We're looking forward to have a memorable event at that time.
And so where is this, I'm sorry, is this going to be displayed, is it going to be shown, how?
Yes, we're having this blown up. Ahern Printing is making a 6-foot by 3-foot vinyl banner, and we will have mounted on the wall or on Taylor Pavilion somehow, so people will be able to view it and enjoy it right there. The Historical Society will be there to have a table with some stuff about Belmar history as well, which is pretty cool. She just emailed me today with confirmation. So they'll be there as well. Yeah, so we're looking forward to a really cool event. Of course, the press is invited, they'll be there to cover it as well. So,
Do we have enough chairs?
Yes, we'll have enough chairs. We currently have 100 chairs at Taylor Pavilion, 25 of which will be used for the orchestra, leaving 75 for the public. I requested DPW to have George deliver an additional 50 chairs, so we shall have those chairs there as well. Okay. So if anyone wants to help serve the cupcakes, please do. Please come and help. That's always welcome. So as Debbie mentioned earlier, bilingual story time is starting back up on Fridays at 10 a.m., beginning June 21st. We've seen good turnout for those sessions generally, so we're hoping to keep that going. And I'll also defer to Debbie to tell more about this, but the Beach Blanket Bingo Summer Reading Program kickoff events are Wednesday, June 12th, and Saturday, June 15th. So I know there's a couple of parents who can't make it, but they've come and signed up independently. Their kids.
I think last meeting you talked about it.
I gave an overview of it. We
Yeah.
recruited some of the kids from Belmar Elementary to come and help out that day, so that'll be nice. As a matter of fact, I plan on just sitting.
And you
The kids do everything.
met with them Friday.
Yes, I went to the school and I met with them Friday, and then they all were very excited about it, and we split them up into 2 groups. some will have Wednesday, some will have Saturday. So that'll be great.
So the last event I want to mention is one that kind of crept up on us, which is pretty cool. Billy Terrell is a local author. We did it all the time here some years ago. He had a book on rock and war. And so he is organizing there's a 65th anniversary celebration of the class of 1959 of Belmar Elementary School. And they're doing all these kind of video interviews and things like that, pretty big program. Part of the program is they're having a roundtable discussion here on June 19th. Here, 6 graduates of the Belmar Elementary School from the 1959 class will be here to talk about their experiences in the school and how things have changed since then and all that stuff like that. It's going to be videotaped and it's going to be put together in one nice program that we'll have access
Do you
to.
know if they are all still local or are they coming in from it?
I believe most of them are local. There's a few that are coming
I
in.
think Bill's in Wall.
Hmm?
I think Bill Terrell is in Wall.
Yeah, Bill Terrell's in one, so he's not far. So he's actually coming on Wednesday to touch base with me on the technology side to set up, make sure everything works with that there. So we're looking forward to that one. That'll be June 19th at 4 p.m. here at the library. For future down the line events, just so you know, it's a big picture thing. Latin American Month is coming in September. We currently have 3 events in development now. One in cooperation with the school, and Dave will speak more to that in a moment. But the first one is going to be our, like a standard concert event like we do in other cultural events. I'm looking to have there's one band that I find is a very engaging, almost like a party band type of thing. So I'm looking to have a musical entertainment which is not something where people are just sitting and listening. It's going to be something that everyone's going to be able to come up and dance and have a good time. It'll be like a party event right there. And yes, we'll have some, I'm looking to see if our local restaurant like Santa Ceviche over here will be able to cater to something like that. That will be a Latin American themed appetizers or something like that. So everyone has a little piece there.
Lots of restaurants in town, so.
Yes, yes. Well, we already have Cerrito Lindo as a vendor, so they can be part of that as well. But I'd like to get Santa Ceviche because they have offerings from other parts of Latin America. They have the Colombian, Peruvian specialists. So.
And just real quick, I spoke to Jimmy today. He's going to set us up to have some of the parents help us make these decisions, even though it's a little bit crazy at the end of the year. But like the band and some of the things, we want to make sure we involve some of our Hispanic parents in terms of organizing this. So we're not going to make the decision until we kind of get together.
And this is going to be at Taylor, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Just making sure bands.
Is there a date for that?
Right now, I haven't set a date for that yet, but it depends on when the band's available. So the other big part is turning the library, similar to what we did a few years ago. We turned the library into Hogwarts. We want to turn the library into Central and South America, and the library will be populated with all these little stations about the different countries. And this is where partnering with the school is going to be key to make this a really cool event. Dave, could you like to speak to that?
Yeah, so I spoke to Mr. Alvarez today, and one of the concerns is a lot of our teachers and parents, the beginning of the year is a little crazy. So, and it's going to be special area teachers that are going to be working with the students. So one of the things I'm going to ask of the board is if the board would be willing to pay a teacher after school hours to organize this. Maybe we pay a person $50 an hour, maybe 8 hours, he said, because it's going to be difficult because it's middle of October to really get this, for the teachers to be able to do it, especially because the teachers only meet with them once every 6 days, and some of them meet a third of the grade level, so a third of the school. So I'm going to get to that, but that's, and he had a meeting today with the Spanish teacher, music. Did he meet with you as well? Okay.
Art.
Yeah, art and music. Yeah. So that's our plan.
Dave, do we have any sort of shared services agreement with the school whereby we could
So,
reimburse them? as a
yeah,
vendor?
so that's what I'm gonna bring up to you also in terms of an idea in new business, in terms of a fishing club and a esports club. Remember you were asking, you wanted to see more participation here. Those are two activities that are very popular at the school, but are being cut because of the COVID money that is gone. So, and that would be a shared service agreement. That would be, in my opinion, in our best interest to pay the school, and they would invoice us, and it would be a shared service. So then we don't have all the vendor packets that we have to fill out. First of all, it would be 45, they can only pay $45 an hour by contract instead of 50. That's really not the problem, but we could get a few more extra hours. It's just easier for us to do it that way. So I will bring that up after in new business, but.
So the third component, the third event for Latin History Month would be bring in off-Broadway musical, which I believe I mentioned the last time, by a former Belmar native resident, Tim McCory, who wrote a musical called Coyote, and it's a story of a young Guatemalan man in his journey across Mexico to cross the U.S. border to reunite with his loved one here in the States. And it's a harrowing story, but it has all this, it's a really uplifting one as well. And the music, this has been in the works for about over 10 years. And I've been there since the beginning, and I've heard the music, and it's wonderful. It's been performed, it's currently being performed in full by the Community Players Theater over in Freehold in July. And the Coyote event will be bringing some of the singers here to Taylor Pavilion, and they will do a presentation of it, and they will play some of the songs, and we'll have like a partial performance of it here as well. And because it's part of the Latin American experience, that'll be a part of the Latin American month that we celebrate there. So those are the three main components that we're developing for that right now. In addition, in October, we have two book fairs, the adult and children's books fairs. The adult one's going to be on or about October 12th, and the children's is on or about October 26th in time for Halloween. And so we're looking forward to have, I already have a number of authors already lined up. I'll be talking to local authors as well to guarantee their spots. And the last thing I want to mention really is we still have our lineup of holiday events. We have Diwali in early November, Halloween, we got the trunk or treat, we have a kids movie night for Halloween as well. And then in the Christmas time, we're looking for, we have the kids movie night, possible, there's going to be a Christmas concert that we're going to work on getting together. And there's a possible third event to be developed. We'll see what comes about there. But those are the overall plans of the remaining programs, major events coming in. Of course, other opportunities for smaller events, and there'll be more author times coming down the pike. On average, 2 a month is what our target is. All right, and yeah, that's it for me.
Okay. Treasurer's report?
So our budget amount is $684,000. We spent to date $197,715.19. Waiting to pay the vendor is $14,573.32. Spent to date and waiting to pay the vendor is $212,288.51, which leaves us a balance of $471,711.49. I also asked Lorraine, because this is our last meeting before September, I just asked her what we had in our reserve account for capital improvements and stuff. We only have one account. I wasn't sure if we had multiple accounts, so we have one account. And in that is $261,681.32.
Remember, we had 161, and we rolled over 100,000.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Darlene, if you get a chance, next time you talk to Lorraine, I know at one point we had a little bit of money, I think, left over from Sharon Day's donations. We never really found out exactly what that amount was, so maybe if we could find out what that is, because I know we needed to replace the benches. I think we have the benches, yeah, we just have to.
Yeah.
And then, just so we know.
Not a
Because I know they have a special number for that line. For that.
Okay.
My report is very short this year, but you'll be very happy. The memorial bush that we were doing for Mrs. Gallagher is on hold for right now until the windows are completed, because it's going to be right at the beginning of the driveway here. So opposite where the light is, it'll be right on the other side, instead of putting it at the end, which we thought was going to be run over by everyone going in and out of the driveway. So we thought that that would be a better spot. We're having, I call it the Pringle tree. The cherry tree unfortunately seems to have seen better days. There was a memorial tree that was given by the Belmar Women's Club, and so we're trying to contact them to see if they want to purchase another tree, take that one down, see whatever has to be done, but it's dead. It's the only one out there without any trees, leaves. You'll see it, it looks beautiful, but there's no leaves on it at all. So that's it for me. I think everything else was covered. I do want to say a special thanks to Dave and Mike, because the window situation was really testy at the very beginning. And I just came along and was like the happy person. They were all laughing at me because I was speaking in Greek and so on, trying to keep everyone happy, but they were the real souls that kept everything going. So Mike and Dave, thank you very much for that. Okay, old business. Old business?
Well, we go to new business.
Okay,
And then comments. And then
okay. All right, new business.
No. So I'd like to bring up hours, for the possible change of hours for the library, basically to extend hours on Friday from 9 to maybe 5 on Friday afternoon, as opposed to closing at 2. And then the hours Saturday and Sunday would still stay the same. And then the possibility of Monday through Thursday, that we change the hours, that we open at 9 o'clock.
So do you mind if I?
Go ahead.
Okay, great. So if you remember, we wanted to keep to 50, comparing it to Bradley Beach. That's probably the most comparable library. When you look at some of the other libraries, some of them are not totally funded through tax. It's a 501c3 and they receive money. Some of them are a lot smaller and their hours are less. So Bradley Beach is definitely very comparable to us. And so if you remember, one of the things I proposed that we would be open on Sundays, and that's we were able to do that by moving to 10 o'clock start instead of 9 o'clock, and add those 4 hours. Johanna came to me, and it is, as we've talked about before, there's a concern on Fridays. That's our biggest weakness in the schedule, is our Friday afternoon. Actually every library, other than, again, the small libraries, are open until 5 o'clock. Some of the other, and most of the libraries have a consistent schedule, like opening time, like you see with Bradley. You see that with even the larger libraries that are not funded totally through taxes, and Neptune is similar. The only difference with Neptune, and again, it's a lot larger township and they receive more money, is Saturdays during the year they're 9 to 5, and during the summer they're 9 to 1. So they're very similar to Bradley. One of the things that I proposed, if you remember, was instead of doing the 5 o'clock and then 8 o'clock every other, was to go to the 7, to give more opportunity for people that work on a consistent basis, that they can get to the library. So I agree with Johanna, that's our biggest weakness. However, I was just trying to keep it to 50 hours, to keep it the same as Bradley. In terms of our sub-account, our line item for payroll, we are in good shape in terms of being able to afford those extra hours if we wanted to, or if you want to start in in September, but, or maybe wait until we hear from the strategic plan. I spoke to Leslie, there was only one person that was asking for extended hours on Sunday, but it was just one, which is a good thing too. Hopefully that means that people feel happy that we're, you know, that we're trying to be open as much as we can for them. But that is our biggest weakness, Friday afternoons. And then would you want to increase, you know, the other days as well?
I've seen these hours now for a while, and it's never occurred. I never actually saw Friday is 2 o'clock. That's just as.
I get a lot of, oh, I went there and it closed.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's just anecdotal, of course.
Yeah.
And I would think, especially in the summer, with people, because a lot of offices close at 2
Absolutely.
and stuff, so they would want to come
Right.
after. So I would think, I would definitely go into 5.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to ask Deb was, since a lot of the summer programs are going to be starting, would it be advantageous to have the longer hours?
Well, yes and no. I see it both ways because a lot of our late afternoon crowd are the students that come straight from school. And having the library open up later on Friday would be good for them. As far as the summer goes, that's a whole different,
Yeah, because
you know, that's a whole
school
different
ends in
situation.
another
Yeah,
week or so,
because
so.
we have it, the only program that we know we want to continue through right now that, from my end, is the bilingual story time, and that's in the morning anyway. As far as other programs, we've been talking about having something on the weekend for the kids. And so that would be great if we had more flexibility in the time that we can do that. So whatever time we have, that's what we're working on. You know, we'll fit in whatever programs we want to have into what's available to us. But I think having more options to be able to bring more kids in is the bottom line to me. So if we want to keep the library hours, what is it, just on the weekends, the same, you're saying?
Is that
What you said, Joanna, the way they are now is fine?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. We would do morning activities anyway. But the afternoon, I think we'll be having a lot more things in the afternoon during the week with the kids.
So the question I have for the board then is, on that Friday, we opened at 9 because we were closed at 2. Would you want to keep it 9 to 5, 10 to 5? What would you want on that?
I'm not in favor of being closed any hours that we are currently open.
Okay,
That's
so
fine.
9 to 5 is your,
Yeah, I have no issue with adding hours.
yeah.
I'm not in favor of being closed any hours that we currently have on the schedule, because we have been changing a lot in the past couple of years.
Yeah.
And just like George taught me when I worked at the restaurant, I want to keep our hours.
Yeah.
So if people think we're going to be there at a time, I want to be there at a time. If we're there more than that, I personally am fine with that. I forgot, my daughter's already eyeballing the library somewhere to cool off, because we don't have air conditioning. But there's really a viable consideration regarding cooling stations this time of year.
Yeah.
Do you think it's an advantage to keep it consistent for all of the days? Like right now, we're looking at 5 of the 7 days as all opening at 10, and 2 days as opening at 9.
I honestly think we should open at 9 as opposed to 10.
Every day?
All the time, every day, honestly.
Does that include Sunday or?
No, I
No,
mean, just,
Just the 5?
Just the,
Yeah.
so just Monday,
Okay.
Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday would be affected.
right.
And so,
We only need 4 hours.
because the fact that we're in good shape right now with, Deb has been covering when people are out. She has been doing kind of a double job in terms of librarian and covering people, so financially, we're in good shape. Next year, I don't think we're gonna be spending the amount of money that we're spending on windows this year, so we can afford to do that, but I just wanted to make sure, you know, I was just trying to keep it at 50 because that's what Bradley teaches us, you know, but, so what I would like, what I'm hearing is 9 to 7 Monday through Thursday, 9 to 5 on Friday, and keep the weekend the same. Is that what I'm hearing?
Do you want a 9 to 2 on Saturday and a 10 to 2 on Sunday? Or we want to make them both the same? Yeah, I just think when I look at it, it's just easy to know if it's the same for 5 days, the same for 2 days. Just,
That's how I am too.
Yeah.
They both, the opening time is the same every
Yeah.
day or whatever, I know.
So before we do a resolution with that, I know that Patty wanted to talk, so, about that. So maybe what we'll do is, if you don't mind, we can, so what I'm hearing is 9 to 5, 9 to 2, 9 to 2 on Sunday? 9 to 2 or 10 to 2?
9 to 2.
Nine. So-
Straight across.
Okay.
So it'll be open
Okay.
9 o'clock every morning.
Every morning?
Okay.
Okay, so what if you don't
So
mind,
just give it that, 8 hours a week?
Adding on.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
Yeah,
8.
8 hours.
8 hours.
8 hour
yes.
edition.
So what, if you don't mind, if we could do this, we'll go into the fishing, esports and whatnot.
Okay.
And then we'll go into public comment and
Okay.
then go to resolutions. Is that
Perfect.
okay?
Yep.
Everybody okay with that? Okay, so in terms of, Bruce?
We're just gonna hold that for just a
Yeah,
moment.
yeah, in terms of a vote. So, in terms of new business, in talking to Mr. Alvarez, I have 3 proposals, 2 that definitely have to be a resolution because it would be over $2,000 for each for a year. The other, as long as they get a verbal from everyone, that's fine. As we talked about with the Hispanic Heritage Month, Mr. Alvarez was asking if possible, if it could be, because it's so difficult to get things ready by the middle of October based on everything that happens at school in the beginning of the year, if we could pay teachers through a shared service for about 8 hours at $45 an hour. And we would pay the school would pay them in a shared service. So that's one proposal that and again, so
Times 45.
yeah.
Okay.
And then the fishing club and the esports. So maybe Danielle, if I could just talk real quick, that would be $2,500 for each club. And right now, when we have a club, it's 50 weeks, $50 an hour. It's about $2,500. So it would be a club, and the thing that works out well was something that the board has asked me to do, to try to start some clubs after school for the kids, and it's something that the school is thinking they might need to cut, or they will be cutting, and so it kind of works out for both of us, and it's a comparable price of what we have for sewing or knitting or the fitness classes and whatnot. So, but maybe Danielle, if you could talk, because Danielle is actually one of the, and she could actually be paid because we pay the school and the school pays her, and still be a representative through a shared service. I'll double check on that, but I'm pretty sure. So could you talk about the fishing club and the
Yes,
esports?
so, I'll start with esports, because that's the one just starting this year, I was the advisor for, and actually Gloria was one of our team members. But, so esports, I honestly went in not knowing much about it, but we did join the Garden State Esports Organization, which they are gonna be charging a $500 registration fee this year. But don't quote me exactly, it's either, I think it's 400 schools in New Jersey are part of this organization. It's either 2 or 4, but towards 4. Middle school and high schools, and we competed virtually against these other schools in different electronic gaming, including one, we did do Mario Kart, which was fun for me, brought back some childhood memories. But they, some of these newer games that I was actually unaware of, but it was really cool because it was all done virtually. So I would, as the advisor, I would communicate with the other team coach through this gaming platform called Discord, and some weeks were set up to compete against high school teams, which was intimidating. But then the high school teams found out that we were 5th graders, and they were cheering us on, and it was this really nice camaraderie of I don't know, like virtual friendships. Like it was a cool experience, and I saw it for, like I said, I went in totally blind, and I did do my due diligence and tried to research going into it, but it still was different than what I was expecting. With that said, the students that I had in it were not all of your typical students that you would imagine, being on the baseball team or cheerleading or the play, like things like that. It was some of our students, actually over 50% of them had an IEP, a special education. It was some of the kids that sit by themselves at lunch, and it was neat because these kids would walk into my little office and they were like high-fiving the baseball player, or Gloria, who came in like never having gaming experience in her life. She ended up getting a gaming device for her birthday or Christmas. Like she came, and she's just so bubbly, so it was easy, but like she came in not knowing a single thing, and she ends up like pairing up with one of our like really good gamers, who doesn't have a ton of friends, but like then he found a friend in her, and he found a friend in another kid, and it was just like, it was really cool. And I was like kind of a little bit hurt that I knew going into it that it was going to get cut because of the budget and the grant running out. So like to save it, I think would be really good. I know one child in particular, if he heard that, like they don't know that we're not doing it next year because I'm afraid to tell them. But his mom emailed me like literally weekly, was like, what school are we playing? So-and-so, he wants to prepare, are we still playing this game? Like, and she asked, like, can I come watch? Because like, if your child was on the basketball team, wouldn't you go watch your child play basketball? And I was like, well, let me figure this out before I invite like commentators to our esports. And unfortunately, we never had her come. But like, I was thinking about it, like, we should invite it. Like, it should be a viewing. Like, I'd be proud of my kid if they were on the team. And then with that said, Manasquan High School is like, they're state champions. And they just won this amazing grant for, I don't even know how much, but they renovated. They have like an esports arena with stadium seating, surround sound, big screen TVs. And I reached out to their coach. And I was like, hey, like I'm from Belmar, we just started this. And she was like stoked because she was like, oh my goodness, you're the first team in the sending district to have a team in the elementary level. We can start like getting them prepared for the high school. And then when I told some of our kids that that they could do this in high school, their minds were like blown. Like, what? And those kids, they go in on their lunch breaks, they go in during they have like, it's open, so like they can go during, if they have like a study hall period, or I don't know exactly how high school schedule runs. But, and then they have a team, I believe, like just for their special ed students to like build a program there. And it's like a whole new, I don't know how to describe it. It's like just a new like interest that's like growing. And then we have posters hanging up at school, like the younger kids are like, I can't wait to be on the esports team. And so like, there is definitely interest. I'm not going to say I had 30 kids on my team because I didn't. I had maybe 10 that came weekly. And we met 7:30 in the morning to 8 a.m. And then we also met after school because competitions are at 3:30. So, no, I'm sorry, 4 o'clock. So we would practice from 3 to 4, and then we would compete from like 3:30 to 4:30, something like that. But they stayed for like at least an hour and a half, 2 hours a week doing this.
And just to give you an idea, these games are not violent in
No,
any way.
it's-
Okay, that's number one.
And that was one of the things.
Yeah.
And I even you can choose what games you participate in by the different leagues.
Yeah.
So like obviously I chose the
Yeah.
the E
Yeah.
for everyone games.
PG versions.
In
Yes.
terms of the research on how this affects children in terms of academically, there's a lot of research that benefits because of the way they feel about themselves. in terms of building relationships with students that they normally don't build relationships with. There's obviously always ways that you can bring literacy into it. It reminds me of, I was involved in athletics, and my mom would get me to read by reading about athletics. It's a similar thing. With esports, you know, you were involved in a coding club for girls in New York City a few years ago, right? We could do something like that.
There's actually a curriculum, so Garden State Esports Organization develops with, you know, research backing it, a whole curriculum that if I had more time and, that I could use in collaboration with the gaming. So like that's pretty cool, and a lot of it's like the SEL, the social emotional learning aspect. You can like hire guest speakers and they'll talk about like what, you know, somebody who has an interest in electronics or gaming, careers, you know, in the future, then like, it's not just like, let's sit down and play games for 30 minutes, it's.
And the idea is for us to use the equipment that they have here, and then we would use the TV, possibly the TVs we have upstairs. Would we put them on the wall? We would just put them. Maybe we just put them on the tables here. So we could start small with the idea that we're paying for the staff. $2,500 is what we're paying.
Is the idea that you'd be moving the esports program into the building?
Yeah.
And would it be open to all the children of the same age, so St. Rose, any of the other, or is it just, would it just be Belmar Elementary?
That's a good question.
I think if we're moving it here,
My assumption
then
would
it
be
should
that
be
it would be
everyone.
open.
Yeah, it would be here, and then because we're doing a shared service, I just have to, yeah, we could do that.
They're just providing services.
Yeah, so it's coming here, right, yeah. So, you know, it's something we have been talking about with esports here, but it's less money than we were talking about in terms of the equipment. And then the other club is the fishing club, which would be easy to bring science into.
Fishing
Yeah.
club is,
Huge,
like,
right? Yeah.
it's insane. What this teacher has done with fishing and getting this interest built is wild. So he just has a passion for fishing. His name's Leif. He's incredible. Special education teacher, and he took his passion and now has this fishing club that has at least 30 members, I would say, if not more. And it's children who have like never fished a day in their life, and they're coming back talking about dredge bass, and in the library itself, like, I can't keep fishing books on the shelves long enough because everybody wants a fishing book because they want to learn more about fishing. Yes, get fishing books.
Get fishing books.
So he runs it all year. In the off season, it's more, he talks about he teaches about like water safety and fishing etiquette and all the rules and stuff about fishing. I can't touch on that because I know nothing. So the kids go in like knowing about the sport and the different types of fish just locally, and then in the spring when the weather starts turning, he walks them down to like Silver Lake. He gets some chaperones with them. They all go fishing. They catch their fish. They throw them back. And then the end of the year, he takes them out on like a charter, and they do a big fishing. And he teaches them about weighing the fish, and they have like their own, bass competition.
So the charter and the extra, the idea is that, I said to Mr. Alvarez, is $2,500 is, unless, you feel differently, but and then they will invoice us to keep track of how they're paying for it, whether it's through the hourly rate for Leif, or 45, I'm sorry, or would it be, the cost for the trip, and Jimmy was pretty much saying it'd probably be better for them they could fundraise for the trip. So
usually the fishing club has about 4 field trips a year.
Yeah.
Between the lake, marina, surf fishing as a charter. And from my experience with Gloria, it is a astonishingly effective from an educational.
Yeah.
The content that she brings home, because I don't fish, and my wife hasn't fished since she was young.
Yeah.
The content and knowledge and understanding she brings home is really quite impressive.
He teaches them all about ecosystems, environment. It is, like I said, I can't keep the books in stock long enough.
And it's not just
Well,
go,
that's
it's
very
not
local
just
here, that's just
go
Belmar.
hang out and throw
No.
a line in the water. That's a very minimal aspect of it. It really is an educational program. It's very
That's great.
effective.
He's done an amazing,
Especially for
How
where
did
we
that-
live, you
and
know?
like females, males, Hispanics, English, Asian, like the whole school's involved, and they all come down with
So how would that look like here?
So
Like a classroom
So-
setting?
So here would be the
He would
classroom
use this,
setting.
It'd be a classroom setting.
definitely. Because most of his meetings are in his classroom.
Oh,
And then when they go on their field trips, they just meet outside and they walk down to whatever,
So we're just supporting them
They need a
financially with a
space.
shared service, providing a space to bring them here.
I think they're supporting us with a resource that we don't always have.
right.
We're not
That they
supporting
could be
them.
using.
Yeah, yeah.
But same thing, it's gonna go back to the same question, is it then you're opening up to the public again?
Well,
We're a public library.
Yeah. So
Right,
we'd
so
have
like the
to-
fishing
yeah.
club would
Well, we
now
would go to St. Rose and
recruit.
speak to the principal there, and we'd have to figure out a way to fit, everybody in here in an organized way. And we want it to be not just St. Rose at one time, we want it to be
No,
a mixture of St.
Right,
Rose
definitely.
and Belmar, which we've done, we did for a while.
Do you envision that there could be maybe a beginner and a more advanced group?
Yes, and he would probably love that. But honestly, most of the kids that have joined were first-time fisher, like.
But I'm just thinking for
So-
the next crew that would come in, they
He's
would be
done
able
this
to get.
now, this was his second year doing it. And, so I don't know, like, how, well, I shouldn't say that, like, we have a teacher's son, Logan, like, he fishes like as a hobby.
Mhm.
He would definitely be in the advanced group, but I don't know how many would fill
Mhm.
an advanced and a beginner. But I think that could like grow, yeah.
And you're looking at 2 sessions.
Yeah.
So if you open it up to Rate St. Rose, I guess it'd be also open to anyone who would be like homeschoolers?
Sure.
We open up to
Yeah.
the children in the community.
Yeah, the children in, in that age,
In that-
I see this, what, 5th to 8th then? Yeah, mine's 5th to 8th. I was, when I felt so bad, because like I said, I knew esports was being cut, but when I saw fishing, I was like, that can't be right, like, they can't actually cut this part.
Just so you know,
We prayed.
the kids are gonna find out about it because it's being videotaped right now. You wanna share.
Sorry,
Yeah,
guys.
They find
My
out.
home to employee ain't that great a secret.
So, you might wanna give them a heads up so they don't get upset.
If we did, we would be doing Belmar and Lake Como priority then if we were to open it up, community, and then if there's space, I'm just saying, we have had 100, people at events that we thought were gonna be smaller
I
events.
think if we get that much participation, that much interest, then we have discussions whether or not.
Yeah.
Or,
If we're getting those kind of numbers engaged where it exceeds the classroom,
Yeah.
then it seems to me that we're getting value for our investment, at which point I would propose that we revisit the topic.
and also, just a side note, so he also has assistants to chaperone the trips, because obviously he can't take care of kids fishing by himself. So that is also consideration for, to hire.
Yeah, I spoke to Mr. Alvarez about what I would propose to the board is to start with is the 2,500. Is the flat rate, that's everything included, and then it could be fundraising, or he could put in his budget some $45 an hour by contract to pay people,
I
yeah.
know he originally was getting the 2,500 and then the chaperone.
That's my proposal anyway, is the 25, because it's very similar to our club, and then it would be up to Mr. Alvarez to figure out the other. And I spoke to Mr.
The
Alvarez.
question I have
Yeah.
is logistically, outside of the elementary school, how's that gonna work? He's meeting with students in his classroom and during the day, I presume.
So-
So that,
It's just like our
would that
class.
continue, or would that?
No, so
How'd
his,
that work?
So we could do two things. We could do it like, exactly, like we have the art class and it's their responsibility to get here. Or we could have that he meets them there, walks them,
I think that-
walks them over here. Those would be the two options.
I
You
think
can have it
that's
as a
the-
3:30 start, but, and if it's really bad weather, they might have to stay
He always
at the
meets
school
after
for that,
hours?
yeah, both of them are always after
Yeah,
hours,
yeah,
so,
so-
or before school, so when you advise a club, you have the option to do before or after.
That would be
That's
part
right.
of the permission slip.
The school's approach is to look at pre-school hours as well, to afford the opportunity for all students, so there's not competition amongst the clubs.
Yeah.
Yeah, so-
Like my 7:30 start has a bigger turnout than my after-school start, because a million different activities
Right.
going on, so that's how I recruit my
Sports.
kids, yeah.
It's also quite advantageous to get rid of the kid at 7:30.
Honor bike every day, first one
You
there.
have to work early those days?
Oh, trust me,
From a
there's
childcare
definitely a
perspective.
few kids that their parents are like, yeah, we'll take it.
So, if you don't mind, we'll go to public comment, and if I could just tell Patty, you weren't here during the, when they were discussing the concerts.
Sure.
And so the mayor is, they're in the process of working on changing the ordinance.
Perfect.
So, your concern of bringing up, you don't have to worry about that. But in terms
that's
of
perfect.
the hours, the
Mhm.
proposal was a nine straight down the board, so if you want to.
Yeah, I think staff would like to see some data that would warrant staying open on Friday, because based on experience, we don't have a lot of foot traffic. Open on Friday, especially in the summer, what we're gonna see is people getting off the train and stopping here to go to the bathroom. Because that's pretty much what happens. So if this does come about, I would recommend putting it off until after the summer. Most libraries shorten their hours in the summertime. We're keeping our hours the same. If we wanted to lengthen them, maybe do it after the summer, then immediately. As far as the weekend is concerned, I mean, I work Saturdays, I work Sundays. I see who comes in here, I see who stays. We have a fair amount of traffic that comes in. However, the people that are here from opening till closing are not our most desirable patrons. They're usually patrons with issues, and sometimes those issues overflow from what they're doing personally on the computer to how they're dealing with us. We've seen that over the past month or so with two patrons in particular with mental health issues, and they're the people that are here all day. So they're not leaving until we close. If we're open later, that gives them another 3 hours to be here. It also gives other people the opportunity to come in and use the library. But what I've seen recently is a lot more people are using our digital platforms and physically coming in, so let's weigh it. Let's talk to staff and let them kind of keep track of who's coming in when, and then adjust our hours according to the demographic that we have, as opposed to just saying, well, let's just open at 9. Well, maybe more people come in if we're open from 10. I don't know how many people are going to come in for 9, but we should really keep track, maybe use the summer to keep track of the data, and then adjust our hours according to that, as opposed to just throwing numbers out there. My 2 cents. Also, I mean, I don't mind working on weekends, but I'm the only one who doesn't mind working on weekends.
Joyce has been doing it.
Joyce
She
has
says
been
she
very
likes
good,
Sundays,
but
yeah.
Joyce works Fridays, and she loves Fridays getting out at 2,
She does, I suppose.
and she works
Yeah.
Sundays,
Yeah.
and she's got family, so that could be an issue. So we just don't know. But I get it that you want us to be open and you want to give everybody the advantage of coming in. I understand that. But let's adjust our schedule to accommodate the best thing for the patron. do we have information on
I believe
Friday
the library,
afternoon?
I mean, well, I know historically the library was always open at 9
Yes,
o'clock.
yes, they were.
Okay, and they also were open on Fridays later,
Yes,
you know, so to me, when I thought about Friday, that's short.
yeah,
In a sense, I
right.
mean, there are people, I know personally, there have been times that if I was working and I got off at 2,
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't come to the library because it was closed, and there was things that I needed to do. You know, so I'm sure I'm not the only one
Right.
as far as that, so I think as far as the Friday, yes, we should be open later, and I also believe that we should be open at 9 o'clock.
At 9 o'clock in the morning.
Because 9 o'clock, people are moving around at that time, so
Right.
once again, to me, 10 o'clock is an odd time to have to wait to come to the library.
We always get, there's never a day where somebody isn't waiting outside for us though,
Right.
right? I mean, regardless of what time we open, they're waiting to get in. That is true. And the 9 o'clock issue, I don't think that's really a big issue. But we added Sunday. We cut Friday, but we added Sunday. What I found is people who come in on Sunday open the door and say, "Wow, I didn't know you were open on Sunday." So, if we throw that out there, maybe we'll get more people coming in on, if they can't get there on a Friday, they may come in on a Sunday. But I get your point too. I don't know what everybody else is gonna think about it. That's all.
Well, everybody else, are you saying staff-wise? Because bottom line is, a staff can't predict, well, not predict.
No, but they
They
can't
can't-
dictate.
They can't
Can't the
dictate
hours.
the hours, exactly.
I think it's a very valid point that we don't have any information on what kind of patronage we get when we're not open.
Right.
I would say we move to the expanded hours and keep notes on whether people are coming in so we can develop the data
Right.
to substantiate that decision. So if we expand the hours that you had suggested earlier, we should simply take notes on it and see whether it's effective, and then going into next year, I think we could plan better.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
We would have a data-based approach to our decision-making in the future, and we'll be collecting that data, just as suggested. So we can expand the hours just as was suggested.
Yeah.
Fair enough?
Yeah.
And this was a topic I think we brought up several times, that we wanted to get a counter, I mean, I
Yeah,
think we looked into it.
That's gonna be part of the strategic plan. I spoke to Leslie, and that's one of the things that will be in the plan, to recommend that we purchase that.
Oh, counter for when people
People
automatically
come in.
cancel, they automatically come in the door.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Most of the, Real has it, Neptune has it, and there's 2 other libraries that have it, and it just gives you an idea of when people come.
And it'll tell
It's not
you what,
exact, but it gives you a good
it'll tell
idea.
you what time the
Just
door
the
opens.
number,
Or just the
you know,
number or the time of day,
It depends on what you're paying for.
of course.
Yeah,
There's different
yeah,
versions.
yeah, right, yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Premium
No, more than all bells and
bundle.
whistles.
I do.
I have a question concerning this.
Yeah.
How many total employees do we have within the library?
We have 14. Almost everyone is part-time except Lois and I. So we have some people who work 3 hours a
That's
week.
David and
20, yeah.
And 14.
Yes, David, we have Dawn that comes and cleans in the
Well,
evening.
I'm talking working.
Well, I'm giving you just
Yeah.
total numbers.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a lot, we have a lot of, so for example, sometimes it's a challenge, right? When someone takes off because, everybody pretty much, it's a retirement part-time position.
Right.
They like their hours, and sometimes it's not real important that, they make more money, you know what I mean?
Right.
They just like working here. And so that's why we have more part-time employees, so when someone's missing, we're filling in, you know what I mean? But it's so total, including me,
Right.
is 15, but it is very, part-time,
Okay.
We have a lot of moving parts.
Yeah, a lot of moving parts. And as you said, the gentleman, and then Dawn at night. No, probably,
So do we want to do a resolution on changing hours?
Why don't we have,
Oh.
Anita probably wants to
To talk?
Talk,
Oh,
yeah.
what do you mean? The windows, with the 2x4s in between the sections, was that intentional in the design, or is that because the bottom windows were not measured correctly too?
So, Mike, you had brought that to my attention, and I.
There's always an exposure that that framing would need to be replaced,
Yeah,
so the contractor elected to.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I can't hear you.
There was always an exposure that that framing was going to need to be replaced. The
So-
existing condition wasn't actually framing to begin with, so the contractor elected to change the way it was framed to better accommodate the style of window we had. Quite specifically, those gaps in the previous installation were associated with the sash weights for the old double O's.
Oh, okay.
So that wasn't actually framing.
Oh, okay.
So he came back with framing to give a better substrate for the windows, to provide more longevity for the installation.
And it looks like they're sealing it up on all sides, so there's no rain possibilities.
Temporarily, yes, and the final condition, it'll all be sealed and weather tight.
All right, thanks. FYI, Brookdale has a e-sport open to the public arena area or something, whatever. Can you use the school classroom for the fishing club because the numbers seem wide, since we're paying them, you know, I mean, it doesn't seem like you're gonna get 30 kids here. Can't you just give them the money and let them have it in the school? Just an idea, that's all. Thank
Yeah.
you.
okay, great. So I guess now we need a couple resolutions. If we could do a I mean, we don't have to do a resolution actually about the concerts,
Right.
right? No, because it's not a, you know, that we
Oh,
don't need a
Yeah.
resolution.
So what it basically, she came in, so she
oh.
missed that.
There was some neighbors that were complaining about the noise ordinance, and the town, Jerry had spoken about the town actually taking the state exception and putting it into the ordinance. The few neighbors that are not comfortable with the concerts, we can have an exception to them. So I don't think we need a resolution for that. However, we do, and we don't need it, as long as everyone is okay, it's below the $2,000 for the Hispanic culture a month for additional, with the shared service, unless anyone has a disagreement with that. But the two other, fishing club and the esports, is over $2,000 for the year. So I would need, you know, a resolution and a vote on those two.
Those particularly time sensitive?
So my concern was, yes, because of the fact that we do not meet in July and August, and I would like to share with the, yeah,
Get started.
yeah.
All right, so we need to make a resolution we'd like to make, or I guess I can start it. Make a resolution that we have a shared service with Belmar Elementary for the, I guess it's 2,500? For each club, so it'd be 5,000 altogether. And then, I got a second.
Second.
Okay, we have to vote. Do we have to do it individually?
Probably should.
Okay,
Would you do
Could
that,
you do the
Pat?
roll
Would you mind
call
just
for
doing a
that?
roll call?
Reread the resolution, does everybody know what the resolution is at this point?
Sure, it was for 2,500 for each of the two clubs, the esports as well as the fishing club, to have a shared service with Belmar Elementary.
So that, to clarify, that's funding for them, for their,
To
their
continue,
service.
to continue, right, to continue
Okay.
those two.
We're allocating up to $2,500
Right.
to a vendor
Yes,
to implement the program in the building.
25 each, 5,000.
Implemented here, well, yes.
Okay, Jimmy's not here, Jerry?
Yes.
Yes. Bruce?
Yes.
Bruce is not here. Marlene?
Yes.
Yes. Maria?
I'm not a voter.
You're not a voter, that's right, that's right.
Forget the mayor here.
It's like, wait, what? John?
Yes.
Okay, Mike?
Yes.
Sharon?
Yes.
Danielle would
I'm
vote
not-
conflict of interest.
Right.
Conflict, she would, but because
She's
of this,
involved.
yeah,
Conflict of
yeah,
interest,
yeah.
Yes, 16.
Okay.
Okay, so the majority.
So, yes, I think the majority
was
rules here.
unanimous. Yeah.
Great, good. And, yep, we don't need to do,
Okay.
Motion is carried.
Just,
So now we're just gonna go into executive.
yeah.
Okay, so we are going to go into executive session right now, so we do have to have the public to